What's up, everyone? I'm back again. Yeah, this is going to be the third video we're making. Um, yeah, just recently, when I had a birthday yesterday. Recently, my birthday was yesterday, and if you follow my Instagram stories or any of my social medias, uh, I stated that I go through this sort of like down or depressed time when it comes to my birthday, all the way into the holidays. Um, and a lot of that is what this whole topic will be about today. Try not to get so like down and down about it or anything like that, but definitely want to bring it to the table and give everybody a little bit of an insight on how my brain ticks and how everything goes on in my head a little bit when it comes to my birthday and holidays like that. Um, we'll just we'll start off with my childhood, of course. When I was young, I'm the baby of four. I have two half siblings and one full-blooded sister. Um, so me being the baby, um, of course, I got spoiled, right? I got spoiled rotten, and man, I can remember my childhood just in the beginning. A part of my childhood, I had pretty much everything that I've ever wanted as a kid. I could do whatever I wished. I was played soccer, baseball. Um, I did everything as a kid and got spoiled rotten over it. But on to my later years, my I can't even remember. I was maybe 9 years old or something like that. 9, 10. When my parents had divorced, and I didn't know that it affected me as much as it did uh, when I was young. But it did affect me a lot as I grew older and I understood where all this is coming from. So yeah, back to like my childhood. I had um I had great birthdays. My birthdays were full of people. People would always come and um bring families would come. Everybody, the neighborhood would come. Everybody would show up for my birthday. And it almost was like the norm for me as a child. I'd always have big giant birthdays. And when my mom and dad had divorced, obviously that had stopped. Um and this is where I'll get into why I get down, because when my mom and dad had split up, and it's not her fault at all. She had to do what she had to do, and life was tough for moms. And so she did her best to provide for me still on my birthdays and whatnot. But I knew, that had stopped. And after my dad had left, the birthdays just got a lot harder and harder and harder. And it just was happy birthdays and like fun filled birthdays were just a thing of the past as soon as my dad had left. And I look back on that even now, obviously now that I'm grown, that that still affects me, that I've never, like, everything just stopped, everything just went away. So when the time comes around again every year, I think about how it used to how I used to feel on my birthday. And it just brings me down because it's like it never got any better. You know what I mean? Like, even as I got older, I turned 21. you know I was already like drinking before 21, so like nothing to celebrate big 21st birthdays, nothing like that. Never had giant birthdays with me and the boys go out and night out on the town with the boys and stuff like that, and never had any of that. Never received anything. um and I'm not I'm not trying to throw a pity party, but I'm just explaining why I just feel so down, because I see so many people, other people, enjoying their birthdays, and say, "Oh, it's my fucking birthday. Buy me a drink. Buy me this. Fucking, it's my birthday out." Like, man, every time it was my birthday, I was the one buying me drinks. I was the one paying for cabs and stuff like that. So I never got that type of a treatment on my birthdays on my birthday. As since a child. So I'm always trying to chase that childhood feeling of like feeling happy, and it's been gone for so long, that feeling has been gone for so long on my birthday that I just no longer enjoy it. I almost like hate the fact that my birthday is coming around, because everybody's like, "Oh, hey man, it's your birthday, happy birthday!" Like, yeah, I appreciate it, thanks, but no, nothing's changing, nothing, nothing's gonna be, nothing comes of it, you know, and and it's silly as it sounds, but I honestly, I just wish that just just a single time of like someone just taking me out and just sitting me down and for my birthday, and taking me out for my birthday and stuff like that, um, that's just something I really I yearn for, and type of like connection, like a party, a vibe, and just have a vibe of friends celebrating a birthday. But I've never been in an environment like that, Um, a lot of it has to be my fault as well because I I close off, I close off around my birthday and holidays just because um, I don't want to put myself in in hopes that like, oh, it's my birthday today, like, it's my birthday, everybody, let's go do something, and just have people like, oh no, I can't do it this year, dog, like, oh, I'm sorry, man, I can't do it, or oh, maybe next time we could do it. Like, I don't want to hear that. So I'm so afraid of hearing that I don't. I don't even mention anything, I almost just get harder on myself because like uh in my head, the way my head works is like, okay, be nobody cares, really. And I see what happens like if I was successful, people would be lining up to take me out or lining up to, oh, let's get around Steve's, but a lot of that has to do with, me not being where I want to be. And and it's just it reminds me every year. My birthday reminds me every year that you're not where you sent out to be. You're not there. You're not there, and the way my brain works is like you're not there because you're not good enough. You're not doing what you should be doing, or you're not working for the money like everybody else is doing. And that just really has a big hold on me in my mind because like I understand that we need to work to make our lives, you know, to make our lives livable. But I've gone through so much type of work that I understand that like I don't have any type of desire to just work a job where I just doing it so I can get money. Like it's not meaningful enough to me. Like for me, my thing is like my purpose, and my purpose is doing this, talking, getting things off my chest. Of course, fitness, of course, athletics. That is my world. That is my purpose. Like I feel happy. Like I've been doing this, like all these pad work videos that I'm doing, all these training videos that I'm doing with my friends over here in Thailand. It's like I'm doing it all for free. I'm getting out of bed early in the morning, preparing myself to go help somebody, to go train somebody for free because I don't have any means of making any money. And these are my friends. I'm not a manipulative person. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. I'm not going to try to uh, manipulate you into to paying me to teach you or to train you. Like if I come to you and I want to train you, it's because I feel like I can train you. I feel like I can really genuinely help you, and money is not the purpose for me. um, I see a lot of people, and especially in the fitness world and trainers and stuff like that, just knowing how to they're like car salesmen, and They just tell you some shit that you want to hear, and they'll fucking talk. Yeah, your gastrocnemius needs to be stretched out a little bit further, and you know, your TFL band needs to be stretched out properly, and this and that. Like, say shit like that just to make people think like, oh, he knows shit. Like, but all they're really trying to do is just dig in your pockets, and that's not right. And people say, well, that's just the name of the game, right? Like, you got to make your money somehow. And like, yeah, but that's people who are, I find that wrong, because if you know what you're doing and that other person doesn't, that makes you in the know that you're just trying to trick somebody into just taking their money. Whether you train them or not, you're just going to give them your cookie cutter type of exercises and workout that everybody's just, okay, do this, or copy something off of Instagram that you see, and try to put and try to use that into your exercises when you're training somebody. Like, I see so many people like BSing, uh, so many trainers BSing people just to take their money, and that's not my purpose. That's not my thing. And that's why I'm very true and very honest. When people won't come to me and ask me to train, or I go to somebody and ask them to train, it's like, oh yeah, man, like, and I just tell people, I'm not certified, I'm not professional, any of this. So I tell them, give me what you think is worth what I'm worth. And that's the best thing. Like, whatever you feel like I did, that's what you should pay me. Um, and That's how I go about things. And I just find it in my world, in the whole fitness industry world and everything, people are just tricking you into buying this, or use my promo code to do this, to get this, and you'll get 10%. And it's just all bullshit. It's all fucking car salesman talk. And it's just not the person I am. I'm a real personal person. Like, if you want training from me, I'm gonna do my very best to work to find a to help you grow, to help you grow. And and that includes me staying up at night looking for videos on how can I help this person. If you got bad hip problems, what are things that I can incorporate for you to become better, to get healthier, and not just like, oh yeah, I'll do this, and follow this food program that I got for you. Because, like, all the health and diet stuff, that's great, you want to be healthy and diet, but people need to understand, like, as soon as you jump off track from that diet, none of the stuff that you do in the gym and exercising with your trainer even matters. you know so my type of work, what I'm trying to incorporate people to do is, like, even if they are having a shitty diet, because I can't be with them 24/7, right? Even if they are having a shitty diet, the workouts that I'm going to use and have people do, um, helps them, no matter, regardless, because I'm going to push you hard, I'm going to push you to the max, and nothing beats hard work. So and I guess that's what people don't want to hear. They don't want to hear, like, fuck, there is no secret fucking secret meal that I should be taking, or there's no some special protein that I got to take to make this all work. And, like, no, nothing beats the hard work. And that's where I find myself a bit frustrated as well with the whole fitness thing. Um, but sorry for getting off all off tangent with that. But yeah, back to the holidays and everything. Um, it's being a trainer and everything. It's even harder now because um, I have to keep a strong head as well. I have to keep it together, and I have to deal with these emotions and feelings that I have um, every year. And I've got to learn how to correct it. And a lot of it is just having pity on myself. And I work I work myself so hard, to be who God wants me to be. And I'm a very disciplined person, I'm a very routine person. And I can do things, I could do a routine over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's where the hard work will be applied. Nothing beats hard work. You keep working hard, you keep working hard, you keep working hard, and then you'll get where you need to be. So that's where I think what I'm getting at is just like the hard work is what I'm doing. I'm not trying to find an easy way to get where I need to go. I'm not trying to find, somebody uh, to bullshit them and take their money so I can have, money, which I need the most, but I would much rather deal with what God is giving me to deal with than to bullshit somebody and just to have their money, because to me that's not right, you know. And yeah, that's how I feel about it. A lot of you guys who say, "Well, you're a fucking idiot, Steve. Like, you got to get that money. That's part of the game. Like, you have to take fucking people's money." And I just don't see myself doing it. If that's how everybody if that's how it's done, then I'll never have money, because I'm I'm too good of a person. And like I said, if they don't know, but I know, that makes me in the wrong, because I'm manipulating and I'm telling you some bullshit that you want to hear, and you'll just pay me for it. I'm not here to get paid just to tell you some bullshit. You know, you don't pay. I don't see any joy in that. You know, um, and that just really, boggles me a lot. So that's just one thing that has been bothering me quite some time. And again, back on these holidays and this time, I had to figure out how to become more in control of those feelings. Especially when I'm feeling down already, and then I go out and I see just people like making a mockery of what I love doing. Um, but yeah, the hardships of around my birthday time and just feeling really down. It sucks. And I know I've said in the previous episode that, like, nothing could knock me off my game. Even though people say, "Well, you just got knocked off your game right now," but in actuality, I haven't, because I'm still getting up. I'm still doing my routines. I'm still doing everything before. When it come around this time, I would just be drunk for months, just be around being drunk. And that's one thing that I haven't um I haven't fully, recovered from all that. But what I'm doing now is a big sign of my growth, because like I said, normally all I would want to do is just drink. Even when I was in great shape before, I would just drink. I would drink. And a lot of times around holidays, it was just hard, because nobody, everybody just looked at me like as I'm just a fucking waste of life, you know, and because I'm not doing what they expect of me. I know what I want to do. I have a dream and I have a purpose, and I know I have this purpose, and this is what I got to keep doing. And staying at the bottom for so long, it gets frustrating, but I'm used to it now. It's just these times that come and make it even feel darker is what's really tough. Um, but a lot of that has to do with just you know uh, my childhood trauma, and just being like, just always thinking less of myself. you know um yeah, like, we can go back into my childhood a little bit more, like when my mom and dad were together in the same household. My siblings, all of us, we were all in the same house. I was spoiled rotten. My eldest sister would take me to school with her, um which was crazy, because who would think now, like, if you could take your siblings with you to school, high school, like that would be crazy nowadays. But back then, you were able to do that. You were able to do that. And my eldest sister became like a second mom to me. she took control. She was my big sister. She always had me with her. I'd go to all of her basketball games. She was a really good basketball player in high school. So I would go with her on these trips, basketball trips with all the girls, all the ladies always, oh, I was a little chubby kid with a cute smile and whatever and whatnot. So, I would be involved with that, and then it just, as I got older, everything, the split up between my mom and dad. My sister ended up going into the Navy. My brother was always around, but he was just like, he was a crazy motherfucker. Yeah, he was out there running amok at that time. And my full blooded sister, we're 7 years apart, so she's still dealing with what she's dealing with. She was going through her teenage years, so there's not much, help that she could do for me. She's figuring things out herself. And it just got hard when my dad had left. And yeah, my mom changed a bit. She was a household mother with a daycare center, and you know, she was just like standard Mexican mom. Always had rice and beans being cooked on the stove every day, and just food was prepared all the time. And that's how I was raised and grew up. But when my dad had left, my mom just completely let go, of that, and became who she felt like she desired to be at that time. Being bonded by my dad, and she was not happy with that relationship being my dad. They were kind of just staying together for me, it seems like, which is another guilt trip that I give myself. um, but yeah, she became a completely different person. And there's a lot more drinking, a lot more partying, a lot more drugs, a lot more bad people in our household. That's where things got really, 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 really hood for me. I grew up a happy kid, great, great lifestyle. But when my dad had left, uh, my mom started inviting a lot of bad people to our house. And my brother at that time kind of was like a connection for that, because my brother was always running amok around the neighborhood with you know, all the gangsters and criminals and shit like that. So my mom ended up hanging out with him a little bit more and being introduced to people in that type of environment. And before you knew it, my house that I grew up in, that my mom had a daycare center running out of and everything like that, out of that same household, it ended up becoming what the police called, the house was marked, is what the police said. um, which means basically like, this is a red flag house. Like, this house is known for fucking violence and fucking alcohol issues and drug issues. And m- plenty of times have I had, you know, 5 squad cars in front of my house with, you know, floodlights pointed at the windows, pointed guns at people that are in my house, full on brawls. I remember my uncle at the time was living with us. Again, drugs, alcohol was involved, but having a giant brawl, and then having my uncle pick up my bike, that I got for my birthday, and smashing it over some people's head faces, fighting. And this was just every weekend, it seemed like, and that's where a lot of my trauma and a lot of my feeling unhappy comes from, because everything was so good, everything was so right before. And I don't do this to make her feel bad or anything, but like, my mom played a big role in in all of that. I can honestly say, and again, I don't mean it to hurt her or anything like that, because I know what she was going through. I understand now. I don't know, but I understand what she was going through at that time now. But it got so bad, the partying and the drinking and the loud music and just the fighting and brawling and drugs got so bad to a point where my mom was drinking on a weekend, the norm, and she was getting ready to go out drinking with her friends. And I just, as a kid, I just had a weird feeling that night. I don't know what it was. I don't know what exactly happened. I think something had happened, like a little scuffle or a little fight happened at the house before they were getting ready to go out, and it just didn't seem right to me, you know. And I had told my mom, I go, Mom, can you please just stay home tonight? Can you please, Mom, please stay home tonight? And I remember begging her, and she was just drunk, and she just laughed. She laughed at me and just was like, didn't console me, didn't do. And again, it's not to put her down, but this is just where I'm coming from, you know. And at that point, she uh, she broke my heart, you know, because I was crying. I was begging her to stay home. Just stay home with me, Mom, please. Please stay home. And she didn't. And it tore me up so bad inside, you know, like it lived with me forever. You know, I asked her to do one thing. I asked my mom, I begged her, please just stay home tonight because I don't feel right, Mom. I don't feel right you going out tonight. I just didn't feel right. And yeah, she didn't. She went out to continue to drink, you know, partied, brought home more criminals. You know, people. I remember times I would get up for school and there's still people laughing loud, drinking from the night before, and I'm getting ready to go to school. I'm waking up, I'm coming out of my room, going into the living room, and I just see random people, random guys at my house, um, as I'm getting ready for school, and they're drunk and they're just laughing and having a good time. But I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know, what the fuck happened? And a lot of those experiences come into my head around my birthdays and holidays because um, as a kid growing up, I would blame not having fun birthdays on the fucking druggies and the criminals and the asshole people that would come in and out of our house, you know, and people used my mom, you know, people used my brother and took advantage of them, you know, and I was just a little kid, you know, I didn't have a voice, so uh, I just observed it all and I realized what was going on as a kid, and it fucked me up. It fucked me up big time. So around the holidays, all those memories and all those bad times come into my head, um, because that's what took over on my birthdays, you know? That's what took over. And and it still has taken over me, you know, like I haven't learned. I've I've told my mom already, like I do forgive her for everything. I truly do. Um, but a lot of things that I have inside that I still haven't spoken about. So that's why I'm speaking about it now. And she and I've already forgiven her for everything that I'm saying. So I hope she doesn't take this to heart if she listens to it. Um, but that's a big reason why I have these very dark emotions when it comes to my birthday because it felt like I was a burden, kind of, you know, because they were wanting to do what they wanted to do, party and fucking drink and stay up late and, you know, throw giant house parties. There's so many times giant house parties we had in my house, and that's why the police had my house marked when I was growing up, and it just wasn't a good environment to be raised up in, especially coming from in same house. It's the same household, but just someone left and then something else came in and took place of that, and which was just drugs and alcohol and partying and stuff like that. So that's a big reason why I choose now to really say fuck you to drinking, you know, like I fall off for sure. I'm guilty of it, you know, and a lot of times it's not when I'm feeling bad. It's when I'm feeling good. It's when I'm feeling great. Like, oh man, fucking crushed a workout today. I fucking this that happened. Got paid today. This fuck. Let's have a couple drinks. I feel good. But that always leads to that darkness. You know, I always have one too many, and then it takes me overboard, and now I'm not happy anymore. Now I'm just in a blackout state, not knowing what I'm doing. So I have figured out, not figured out, but I understand now that that's a false feeling when you feel great and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, fuck it, I feel good today. I did knocked out my shit today. Yeah, I can have a drink. For me, I can't because I come from a different environment than most people. You know, the environment I grew up in, when people are drinking, it leads to something bad. It leads to getting a woman fucking kneed in her face in my front door. And I witnessed this as a, what was I, 10, 11 years old? Seeing a woman get grabbed by her hair, pulled down to the ground, and her supposed boyfriend that loved her, kneeing her in the face repeatedly. And I'm there watching this. And mind you, I'm going to a Christian school at this time too. So not only am I going to a school where they embrace God and they teach you to be caring and loving, and and it was just a different environment when I got home. When I got home, and that God didn't live at my house. I'll tell you that. God wasn't living there. And that's where those two big contrasts really did a number on me, because um, going to that school, I never had any issues. I never got into fights. Um, I never. I was a good kid. I might be a little snarky, a little attitude kid from time to time, but what kid isn't? But I never had like repeated issues until I got out of the Christian school. And what was crazy to me was like I almost like knew, like I almost knew, like going to the school that I went to, um, that like, okay, we act like this over here, but when I get home, the way we act is completely different, you know? And my environment was completely different. Um, yeah, so that just affected me in such young age. From first grade to fifth grade. Um, yeah, I would experience all this crazy shit at home, and then have to go to a Christian school where like no other kid in my class had that environment when they went home. I remember we'd have um, kids would have birthday parties at school, not at school, but on the weekends, and everybody would go to each other's houses, and we couldn't do that at mine. Couldn't do that at mine. In fact, I didn't have birthdays. I didn't. Nobody got invited to my birthdays, um, because my house was a bad house. I grew up in a bad environment. Um, yeah, lots of crazy stories, lots of violence as a kid, lots of violence, you know, and that was very detrimental to me, because just such bad aggression. And like I said, to what it was in the beginning to what it turned out to be, it was just black and white, and it really fucked me up. And yeah, and that's where a lot of this darkness and a lot of this depression comes from, because I'm just no matter how much I tried, my voice was never heard. And that still plays into what I do today. It's like I always get ignored, or I always get overlooked, or nobody takes me serious, or everybody's just like, oh, there he goes again. That's Steve again. But they don't see the fact that I'm just trying. I'm trying. I'm failing. I know I'm failing, but I'm still getting up every day and trying. I'm trying to be a good human being, because my past my past can't wait to come back, my past childhood traumas and everything can't wait to come back. It's like, yeah, fuck it. You know where you're comfortable at, Steve. Just go to the fucking block with the homies. Fucking buy a bottle in the morning and fucking play bones with your boys. Or fucking work out with your homies in his parents' driveway and wait for some fool to walk by and we can start fucking checking them and shit like that. And let's go do a beer run. Let's go do beer runs. My fucking family's notorious for beer runs and just crazy shit like that. And like that's where I know I try to kill that every day. Every day I'm trying to kill that feeling. And it's not like I have urges to want to go out and just be a fucker, because I know it's not right, but that's where I can easily fall into. I could easily fall into that trap because that's where I learned to be comfortable in. I learned to be observant in those environments. Like it's fucked me up. It's crazy because even at a young age, so much violence and so much fighting happened at my home that I started to create defenses for myself, and not just defensive, but just like observant. Okay, the front door's right there. All right, there's no windows behind me, so nobody can grab me from behind. Uh, the wall's here. Now I can see everything, and I still have these problems when I go into big environments. I go into these big restaurants and stuff, and they'll sit you at a round table in the middle of the room and everything. I don't feel comfortable like that, and it's because of my childhood traumas of what if something happens behind me and I can't move out the way, you know, and stuff like that. And it's daily things that I got to learn to just remember. Like that was then, that was then. Don't think everybody's like that. And it's hard for me too because I can't. It's hard for me to let it go. I've learned to forgive. You know, but I just can't let go of just those feelings of how it was, and it's so strong, and that's why I'm so gung ho with everything that I do. I'm such an overachiever, and I know people don't like that about me, and I think that's a big part of why people like they'll get the liking to me, but they start to see like, oh fuck, this motherfucker just going too far, Steve. You're going too far, and that's just me though. I'm going too far because I don't want to go back to where I. The further I can go ahead means the farther away my past is, in my head. So of course I'm an overachiever, and I understand how that looks to other people and everything. But now this is me explaining why I'm such an overachiever. Um, and it has to do with just not wanting to become what I was supposed to become, because when I was put in that environment, I was just, I was being brewed just to be behind bars, for sure. I was being brewed to become a drug addict. I was being brewed to become a fucking drunk, an abusive drunk, you know, and that was supposed to be my life, for sure. That was supposed to be my outcome, you know, but I chose to fight. I chose to overachieve because I don't want that feeling. And that feeling is so strong that I have to beat the shit out of myself every day. Not physically beat myself up, but the grueling workouts that I put myself through, just the lack of empathy I have for myself is it's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal. But like I said, being hard on myself like that is where it's got me where I'm at today. I've rubbed shoulders with so many great fighters, world champions. I'm talking world champions, not national, not fucking local fucking fight promoter. I'm talking world class champions. And I've trained side by side with these people, and it's because this is where I brought myself to. I did not get trained by I did not have no great trainer, a family member that took me under the wing and we trained. We worked from the bottom up. No, I didn't start throwing my hands until I was in my 20s. I didn't learn to start fighting until I was in my late 20s, and it led me into this whole world of fighting. And like I said, being at a level where a lot of people back home don't even think that I'm at. A lot of people, like, they overlook me. And they don't think that I know, or I understand. They just think that I'm just a bunch of shit, like just a shit talker. I run my mouth, right? But I promise you, the reason why I run my mouth, because I understand. I understand. I've been next to the best of the best. I've been trained by some of the world's best trainers. I've had so many trainers that I've gone through. Saga Pet, Pentai, Cookie, uh, P Gay, uh, who else? Hippie Noi, Cyanoi, Turbo, Peanut, Ajan Peanut. Peanut Peanut is got to be one of the greatest trainers, if not the greatest trainer in Muay Thai, for sure. He's one of the smartest men I've ever come across. Peanut is, and only the real ones would know. Only the real ones would know this name. And if I went home to the States and be like, yeah, I got trained with, like, you see this photo of me training with Peanut? People don't know. They don't know because they never reached to that level. They never got to that level where I'm at. So, like, again, from my overachieving and getting to these levels that people meet me and they talk to me and they're like, you're not that guy. You never made it there. Like, trust me, bro. I assure you, and I'm not bragging, I'm not boasting, but like, I know what it takes, and I know I've gone through it, and even I failed at it. It's not an easy game, to do this type of journey. But yeah, it's just part of like the whole overachieving that I'm gonna do it. And I accept the repercussions of it too. You know what I mean? People don't like you. People are not understand you. They're gonna they're gonna have their opinions of you, which is all fine with me because they don't know, they don't understand me. They never People that uh, have an idea of me or have a judgment already made of me. A lot of you guys probably haven't been able have never sat down at a table with me and really had a good, solid, deep talk with me. My friends that have had met me and that have had these sit downs and these talks with me, they know I'm a fucking great human being. But if you never talked to me outside of the gym, or you never sat down and had a good talk with me, you'll just think of me as like, oh, he's just a fucking arrogant showboater, fucking overachiever, and just thinks this and this of himself. And it's not that. It's just me having sheer confidence and and assurance of what I've been through and where I've gone. And I might not look like somebody who grew up in that type of environment, but I am. It's instilled in me. It's in my brain. I'm from the fucking gutter. I come from the bottom. I'm not blessed to say. I'm not happy to say it, but that's where I come from. And a lot of the times I would like to just get out is like, it built who I was. All that pain and all that violence and all that fear as a kid, and just fucked up shit. It was fucking crazy. Like, I don't want to bring up all the stories, but I remember coming home again, being in a Christian school, coming home to a man in my bedroom slit his wrist. Some random guy that my mom had in the house that was a friend of my brother's or something like this slit his fucking wrist. And I'm coming home from school, I'm walking in and I see this guy pale with his wrist slit and a butcher's knife next to him. You know? Trauma, bro. Fucking trauma. Not supposed to be seeing that shit. And then mind you, oh, next day you got to get up and thank you Jesus for this and that, and wow, crazy, right? And I just I can relate to a lot of people at the bottom, and that's who I find my people are, you know, and that's where I find that's where my purpose comes from. My purpose that God has given me is you've made it out of that fucking rut. You've made it out already. Now you are so fucking strong. You are so strong-willed that you have enough power to go back to those environments and start building motherfuckers from the ground up that were in that same type of environment. And that is my purpose. I don't want to fucking I don't want a well-trained athlete to train. I want somebody who's broken. I want somebody who just wants to give up, someone who almost just wants to kill themselves. Those are my fucking people. That's the person that I'm looking for. That's the person that I'm really ready to push. I'm ready to fucking stay at the bottom with you. I am. Because I